roll.
Hello. Jay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Metal Summit. All our beloved rockers, rollers, and children of the corn. So we want to thank you guys, as always, for joining us and spending your evening with us. I'm here with my usual group, the people that I love, the Brotherhood, and the Island of Misfit Toys. I've got Max Ash. I've got Psycho Steve. I got Bobby Dreyer. I got Angel Alamo. How we doing, boys?
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Shout out McCannon.
Yeah, man, for sure. How was our week?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, it's great. Perfect weather. I mean, restaurants are opening up, with distancing. No live music yet, though, but.
Absolutely. Actually, I was able to catch a little bit of live music, and we're getting everything set up. We'll have Steve coming in with us shortly, but it was actually pretty cool. So I was actually chilling a few days ago, as not really planning to do anything per usual, because while I know that things were kind of getting together and we were, starting to kind of get back to some normalcy, I'm just kind of chilling on my couch, and I see this post pop up on Facebook from my buddy Aaron, who says that he's live at this show for this really talented cover and party band that I know called Shake the Room. And he says he's at this show, and I'm like, oh, and I look at the venue. It's this place, Mountain Branch, which is a country club 5 miles from my house. I'm like, oh yeah, that's happening. I was like, live music, finally. I literally dropped everything I had, put on my shoes, and off I went to go catch that show. And it was good, man. It was a good time. Like music live, it never sounded so sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I miss seeing, but I don't know if I'd be able to deal with crowds so right now. I think it'd be wigging me out. I'm scratching an itch to pull the trigger to go to Disney, but I'm still, maybe I'll just wait to get an injection in the arm.
No, I definitely get you on that one. It is kind of it's kind of interesting with that. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the waitresses at this place that I was at, they had their bandanas and they had their masks and stuff like that, and they were wearing them most of the time. But honestly, none of the other people that were there, which was actually a pretty solid grouping of people. Nobody was actually wearing masks or anything like that. It was pretty lovey, but nobody crowded up on top of each other. So that actually, it gave me some hope. That gave me some stuff that I was really digging on. So for the fans that are watching, we just got connected with Steve. We're going to bring him in shortly while we're getting everything squared up. But other than that, why don't we just finish up what we were just discussing, guys? Why don't we talk a little bit about, since it seems like it is getting towards that time, talk a little bit about what you guys think when it comes to the upcoming shows and what you guys think and your enthusiasm. Psycho, why don't you start us off there?
Okay, well, I'm very excited about it, but I'm also scared at the same time because I think it's going to spike again, to be quite honest with you. Mm-hmm. Because people are going to be all excited and they'll be like, yeah, take off the mask, woohoo! And then they're going to get all up in their face and everything like that. I love the concept they did in Germany. I'm sure we talked about it because I talked about Johnny D and Doro doing the whole drive-through concerts. I thought that was brilliant, and it went over really well. I watched most of the footage. I'm just scared because I don't want to get sick, and I don't want the kids getting sick, and I don't want anybody, you guys getting sick. It's just, because I work in retail. I have 6 feet between me and a person. Plus, I wear a mask about 8.5 hours of the day. I wear rubber gloves all day. And then they get mad when I tell them to put a mask on before they step into our store. We lock the door behind us, and then I say, okay, we have to check them in. And then once we're ready to have them, because we can only have, if we have like 3 people on the floor, we can only have 3 customers at a time. And I got like tons of people coming in on my store, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I can't have you in. Yeah, you have to check in, and once we're ready for you, we'll get ready. And then once we're done with that one customer, we write down the table, write down the credit card machine, all that kind of stuff if they make any transaction, and then go to the next person. It's, so.
Yeah, it's definitely
Right, because they just announced like China, Beijing closed off right now because they just spiked again. So who knows what's going to happen?
Gotcha.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
For
Hey,
sure.
Steve
Definitely.
Lynch. Steve Lynch, if you are listening, please turn on your camera. Guys, we are almost ready with Steve, so we're having some minor technical issues.
You see me
so
okay now?
not yet, Steve. So, yeah, and Steve is working with his camera, but we can hear him.
Yeah, definitely. No problem. We'll bring
That's
Steve in
fine.
shortly as soon as
What's going on here?
we get him all up close and personal. How about yourself there, Angel? What's your take a little bit about the possibility of upcoming shows?
I'm going to
Yeah.
quote Bad Company. I love the music and I can't wait to see the crowds. So
There he is.
as long as we practice social distancing.
Absolutely, for sure. And how about yourself there, Bobby? We were talking a little bit about shows and stuff like that, and you've been able to work casually with some bands and stuff during the
It's been interesting. I went to lunch yesterday with producer David Ivory, and David and I were talking. The Grammys, they have a different set of standards than what the CDC does, because I have to make sure everything in here. I have my UVC lighting. I was just working with Lamont Caldwell of Mach 22. We were finishing up their EP in that, and but as soon as everybody leaves, it's like, oh my gosh! It's like you would think I'm either gonna birth a child in that room or whatever. I got my defogger and this and that, and it's like, man. I got to yell at people. Don't touch the guitars. I'm like, why? Because they're mine.
Absolutely,
I don't need your
man.
funk on them.
Definitely, man, for sure. And then right before we kick it to Steve, Max, why don't you jump in a little bit on this and talk a little bit briefly about what you're looking forward to about shows kicking back off, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Sorry, go ask me that question again.
No, yeah, it's okay, man. No worries. No, I was just bringing you in, before we kick it and officially bring in Steve. Why don't you just join in on this because you're the only one left to speak.
Thank
a little
you,
bit.
buddy. No, I just wanna say that for my podcast Max 101, I have a very cool interview for Father's Day. So if for those who wants to go and join, Max 101, Max number 1 ON number 1, go to Facebook, find the page. This Sunday, I have an interview, very, very cool interview with Calico Cooper,
Nice.
Alice Cooper's daughter, and
Wow.
he's talking about, her dad, and, like they have a very strong relationship. So everybody tune in on Sunday on Max 101. So I think it's one of my best interviews so far.
Awesome,
and thank you
man,
for
sure.
letting me say that.
Nah, totally, dude. It's all good. It's all fun. It's all family. But the fact of the matter is, we've all gathered here tonight to talk to our friend, talk to somebody that we're always particularly enthusiastic about and who we admire quite a bit. Mr. Steve Lynch, thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much. So talk a little bit, starting off with your take on everything. I mean, you, as opposed to everybody, especially because you're a stage man, getting back out on the stage. So talk a little bit about having to deal with being one of the children of the corn and then what you're looking forward to about playing again.
Well, I think that it's going to probably happen after there's a vaccine. Unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lot of restrictions up until that point. And I think that once that happens, then everybody will be okay to be in large crowds again like that in close proximity. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, it looks like it's still a little bit of a ways off. They're hoping around the first of the year, but we shall see about that. But the one thing is that with sports and music and entertainment in general, it's just, it's never going to be the same if you're not going to have those large crowds again. Absolutely not. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like when I was young, going to concerts all the time, my thing was like half of the fun was like being in that big crowd. You know what I mean? Oh. And I believe it's all going to happen again. I think it's just a matter of time. And I can't wait. But anyway, sorry guys, I have to apologize. I went into Skype and it wouldn't let me on. I had to change my passwords, and then it was a password that I had used before, and then I had to rechange my passwords, and I actually had to set up a new account.
Oh, God.
That took me a while. So I don't know. If somebody's been into my stuff, and they keep changing my passwords on everything. So then I have to reset them on just about everything. So somebody's on my phone.
It's Antifa. We know it's them. They're doing
absolutely. Yeah. Sure. So now we've got a Stephen Lynch doppelganger that's out there somewhere.
That's right.
But no, Steve, we can definitely appreciate that. All of us are fans. Most of us are musicians, but we're all tied in when it comes to this, and we all love our shows and stuff like that. I know that earlier today you saw the promo video that Max put together of you soloing, to get people stoked about today's episode, which is a video that I actually took at a Fishhead Cantina show a couple years back from me being like a foot away. So I can appreciate.
Okay. That was you that filmed that. What happened on that? I had to take it down because it froze up on the screen, and then I couldn't get onto anything. I couldn't get out of it, and I couldn't get onto anything. So I don't know what happened. If there was a virus that was attached to it on my phone, I don't know. But I had to turn my phone off and reboot it and come back on and manually turn it off.
Oh, well, somewhere in the future when we get to hang, I'll show you that video just straight up on my phone, and we'll call it a day.
Oh, no, I was able to watch it the first time through.
Oh, killer.
Just that after that, it froze up. But yeah, it looks like you were very close.
yeah. That was actually Fishhead Cantina, Baltimore.
Yep.
A few years back now, obviously with you and the Autograph Gang. And that was the precursor to the first time that you and I did an interview after that set as well.
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Remember that place well? Is it still open?
It sure is. They actually were able to do pretty well during the whole COVID thing because they were able to do the whole to-go thing. They've always been known for great food and stuff, but also because of that, their concert venue also being very open and outdoorsy. As soon as restaurants were open for outdoor seating, they were all over it. They've been booking a lot of shows for later this year. So, as long as we're feeling pretty good about everything, I mean, at the risk of sounding a little greedy, as far as being a Baltimore guy, I'm pretty stoked about getting some music maybe a little quicker than others.
Yeah. Baltimore's a great city. We played there a lot. We played there a lot back in the old days, back in the 80s.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because
we just played there a lot. I remember seeing it on our itinerary a lot. It's like, oh, we're back to Baltimore again. And so, but it was a great place. Always a great crowd response there. So.
For sure. I mean, between Hammerjacks and Thunderdome, I know you guys were here a bunch.
It was Hammerjacks. We recorded a live album there. In fact, Kevin, who's running it now, I think he was running it back then as well. But we were talking about, we did a live album there with Westwood One. They had their big bus outside. Yeah. And I think it was 1985 or 86. But, man, it sounded great. I mean, Westwood One has got all the facilities to make a live recording sound really, really good, and they did. It was a fantastic show, and it was just an amazing recording that came out of it. So,
all right, on. Well, here let's kick it to some of the mates so we can have a little bit more fun with you, Psycho. Why don't you jump in here, brother?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for joining us, Steve. I appreciate it, and also having the same name, so you're awesome.
Yes, that's right.
I wanted to ask you, Autograph. Did you come up with the name, or who came up with the name?
No, the weird story about it is that we actually didn't have a name. Okay, when we first started out, because all of us were in different bands. Like the singer was in a group called Silver Condor. The drummer was in a group called The Coup on A&M Records. And me and the keyboard player were actually playing with Holly Penfield on Dreamland Records. And then Randy Rand, the bass player, was playing with Lita Ford at the time. So we were just guys that got together and jammed at those Victory Studios in North Hollywood. And we all knew each other and everything. We just got together and jammed, and we put together a few songs, just as kind of like a side project, because we all had paid gigs at the time. And so anyway, Andy Johns came in, the producer, engineer Andy Johns, brother of Glenn Johns. They worked with, John Lennon, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, and everything from back in the day. So they come from that London Trident music scene. And so anyway, he asked us to come in and do a demo. He says, I got some free time at Gower Studios down in Sunset. So we said, sure, let's go do it. So we pounded out 5 songs. Well, Kenny, the drummer at the time, was jogging with David Lee Roth every morning at 8:30 in the morning. They'd go jogging. And so David asked him, he said, what are you doing? And Kenny said, I'm in this group called The Coup, and he played him the demo of that, or actually the album of that. And then Kenny said, well, I've got this other project. We don't have a name or anything, but we just went in the studio with Andy Johnson. And so he played that for David, and David loved it. And he said, will you guys come out on tour with us? And for the 1984 tour. And so Kenny said, well, I'll see what the guys are doing. So he called us up, and we had a meeting and thought, well, we're done recording and everything for all these other projects. We probably have time to go out and do a few months anyway. And so we did, and we thought of the name for the band on our drive from Los Angeles to Jacksonville, Florida, straight across the 10, Interstate 10, all the way. And we actually wrote down 5 different names, each of us, on a piece of paper, and then we circled it around again. We crossed out names we didn't like, and there was only a couple names on there. One was Red Cross, and the other one was Autograph. But we can't call it Red Cross, and so that was Kenny, the drummer's idea, anyway. But we said, Kenny, we can't call it that. But then we went with Autograph, and we thought, well, we kind of have a signature sound. It doesn't really sound like anybody else. So let's go with that for now, and then if we think of something later, we'll change it. But by the time we got done with the Van Halen tour, we played in front of, hundreds of thousands of people at that point, and so.
That was the 84 tour, correct?
We're going to have to stick with the name now. And so that's how that happened. Then we got signed backstage while we were on that tour, and we had to quit all our bands. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, Bobby, why don't you jump in as like a follow up to what you were saying about what tour that was? You said.
Yeah, that was the 84 tour you jumped on, right? Yeah. When everything came out. So you were teaching at MI at the time as well, correct?
No, I was only doing clinics there. And then I wasn't teaching full time there.
Because you were, the whole thing back then.
I graduated in March of '79. And then they asked me to come back and do some clinics, so I did that. But I wasn't a regular teacher there.
Oh, okay. I thought you were on with like Hal Roberts and all those guys who were back.
Oh, yeah. I was around all those guys, like Howard Roberts and Tommy Tedesco and Don Mock and all those guys. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Out there. Did you go there?
No, but I have my degree in jazz and everything, so I'm a huge. Everybody from who was out here went there. Reggie Wu, and so Heaven's Edge. Everybody on the Philly scene studied out there, came back here, and taught me. So,
oh, okay, I see. Yeah, a lot of people did that. They went there to actually learn, to teach, and they did. They became great teachers, so yeah. But it was great walking around the halls with all these jazz greats, and ask them, hey, what was that you just played on your guitar? What was that? Now, how can I use that in rock, And so I was getting all these licks from them, and it was just really cool because I was figuring out, okay, now they're playing this over these jazz changes, but I can keep it stagnant in one key here, and I can come up with something that'll fit into this, and that's how I came out. I come up with that idea on Turn Up the Radio. With that part that's right before the hammer-on part.
Yeah.
That's a descending thirds and sixths kind of thing. And I got that from Joe DiOrio, who he wrote this book called Intervallic Designs. And it's all about those kind of things where you're jumping different intervals while you're in a scale and even outside of the scale. You're going inside and outside. That's what jazz is. It's tension and release all the time. And So yeah, he showed me a couple licks and stuff, and I just went, wow, this is so
Well,
cool.
here's the nerdy gear question I'm going to ask you. I'm a big Floyd guy. You were the first person, it was you and Lita who really, I kept going, wow, Kahlers. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, people either love them. Floyd guys like me hate them because they're so bouncy. But you know that you were known for it on your Jackson with your lightning bolt and your Kaler.
Uh-huh. Well, they put the heavier springs in them for me, so they weren't that bouncy. You know what I mean? It didn't feel that much different from a Floyd. The thing is that I got used to the fluidness of it.
Okay.
Where you get used to the way the pitch bends. When I got used to the evenness of the pitch bending and everything, and you could pull up, quite a ways with it without breaking any strings, and it never went out. When I tried a Floyd, a lot of times they would go out of tune a little bit. I finally got that down. Now I'm using Floyds, but yeah, when I first. I guess it was because it was the first one that I was introduced to. You know what I mean? And I got a funny story about Floyd Rose. Floyd Rose, when I was in a cover band up in Seattle, and we were writing original songs too, but it was called Silverload, and we were playing at this place called Rathskeller's in the university district up there, and this guy comes in, and he was coming up to us like in between almost every song, and he was drunk on his ass, and he kept on coming up to me and the other guitar player saying, "Hey, I could take your guitar, I could route it out, man. We'll put in this idea that I have for a tremolo arm, and it'll never go out of tune. It'll never go out of tune." And he kept on, and he said his name was Floyd Rose, and so I thought, okay, that's an odd name, Floyd Rose. And he kept on bothering us and kept on bugging us. And we eventually had him kicked out of the club. So, anyway, then years and years later, I'm at a NAMM show, and by this time his name's really famous, and I went up to him and I said to him, hey Floyd, do you remember that club Rascars up in Seattle? And he goes, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Well, I was in a group called Silverload. No, I remember you guys, and then I said that we had you thrown out because you wouldn't leave us alone about routing out my 62 Strat, and I didn't want my 62 Strat to be routed out." And so we told him that story, and he just busted up laughing. He said, "That was you guys?" And I said, "Yeah, that was us." So it worked out really cool. It was neat.
Dude, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's a great one for sure. Hey guys, before I kick it over to Angel, as well as our first round of questions from the fans, Max, you want to jump in here right quick with something?
Yeah, 1 second. Go with Angel, please, and then
Go with Angel. Absolutely, Angel, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, just definitely want to say hello to some of our new fans. Julie, who's a big rock fan, and a good friend of mine. Colton fans, welcome. Jesse Torres. Rory, thank you, all you guys, for listening. There's no question, but I do have a question. What was the first guitar that you picked up, and besides the guitar, what other instruments do you play?
The first one I picked up was a Lyle bass, or actually, my dad bought me one of those Stella, acoustic guitars where the strings are about that high off the neck. You can't play a chord to save your life on it. But I was 9, and it was made out of cardboard. You got it from Sears and Roebuck, and so it was a $9 guitar. So so I couldn't really play it. I tried, but then a friend of mine that lived down the block got a guitar, and so he wanted me to get a bass, and so I got one of those Lyle bass and little Supro amplifiers. And this was 1968, but I really wanted to play guitar, and so he passed away in an accident, and so I thought, you know what, I want to get a guitar, and then what happened was then September 18th, 1970, I still had this bass, and my hero was out, Jimi Hendrix, and so he died, September 18th, 1970. And that day, I took my bass in and I traded it in on that 62 Strat that I was just talking about.
Wow.
And so I played on that for years and years and years. And so that really was my first real guitar, was that 62 Strat.
Absolutely. Are there other instruments that you play as well, Steve? Like piggybacking off of Angel a little bit?
Just aside from bass and keyboards too, but I'm not proficient on keyboards because I don't practice it. If I sit down and need to learn the chords for a song and play on it, then I can do that. But other than that, no. I just pretty much guitar fills my hands pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got a question from a fan.
Yeah, man.
Bruce wants to know, how did you like doing the monster cruises?
The what?
The monster cruise.
Oh, the monster cruises. What about them?
How did you like performing there?
I absolutely loved it. That was so much fun because
the Monsters of Rock.
Yeah, Monsters of Rock cruises. Yeah, MRC. Because of the fact that it's not only connecting with all the fans, it's like everybody's just on this big boat. And it's all the bands that like, because we knew all the guys from back in all the '80s bands and everything, and so we all had connections with them. We knew the guys from Black and Blue and Motley Crue and da da da. I mean, everybody, Rat and Poison and everybody. So when we get on those cruises, it's like a homecoming. It's like you're going to a graduation. 30 years later, 35 years later. But no, it was really cool. Great time. There's excessive drinking on those, as you might know, and just all kinds of debauchery. But I just love the fact that we were out on the waves and playing a really, really cool venue. And they had great food all the time, which was nice. But yeah, it was a really good way to connect with people. I loved it.
Nice.
Awesome. Right on. Max, do you want to jump in, my friend?
Sir, yes, sir. Steve, first of all, thank you, brother. It's awesome to be in touch with you, on a regular basis. Thank you for being my friend,
Absolutely.
pretty cool, to have, all these connection, and talking about music and sharing, what we love, right? The bottom line is the music. But my question is, on a previous interview, we talked about a book, but you only gave me like a briefly description of what happened there. You wrote a book, right? And I always wanted to have like a follow-up question about it. Can you tell me what it was the book about, and anything else that you want to add to it?
Yeah, it was a book. It was called The Right Touch because it was using the right hand and playing notes with your right and left hand together. And so I called it The Right Touch. And I wrote that while I was going to the Guitar Institute, actually. I wrote it during the whole year that I was going there in 1978. And I didn't think of writing as a book, but when I first started going I was already into the tapping thing since 1972 or 73. There was a guy in Seattle, Steve Buffington, that did it, and then I saw Harvey Mandel, and he was doing it, and so I kind of got into it and was experimenting with it. But then at the beginning of when I started going to the Guitar Institute, which was March of 1978, there's this guy Emmett Chapman who invented the Chapman stick.
Yeah.
And he was playing with both hands. He did a clinic there, and I was just like blown away by this. And he mentioned that he got so far with guitar that he actually had to come up with this other instrument to accompany him more like a piano, because you comp and you play the bass lines with your left hand, and then you play the melodies and the solos with your right hand. And so I asked him about that, and he said, well, can I see your guitar? And of course I handed him my guitar, and he said, well, here's like the typical pentatonic scale. And he played, just A minor pentatonic. And then he went up here and he played another position of the scale. And he went to a little bit. And I went, that's it. And so everything that I was writing down while I was learning everything there, the arpeggios, the triads and everything, I started writing it down two-handed. And so I had, for my right hand, there was a circle pulling off. For my left hand, there was a square. And then for my left hand hammering on or pulling off, it was a triangle. And so that's what I did. And I had each thing numbered so that you just play by numbers, basically, just like painting by numbers. And so anyway, by the time I graduated and I had all these chord versions and all this crazy stuff written down for it, I had a stack of papers like that. And when I played at the graduation ceremony, Howard Roberts and of course, all the staff, everybody was there watching it. And that was a little bit unnerving, to say the least. But anyway, they said afterwards, they said that was amazing what you were doing. We've never seen anything like that. And Howard said, you should write a book on that. And I said, Howard, I've got a stack of papers about like that on it. And Howard and I became good friends. He's just such a cool guy, so eccentric and so knowledgeable. And anyway, so Howard Robertson, Tommy Tedesco took me down to Dale Zdenek Publications and who they were on at the time. And, I brought down all my papers and everything. I brought my guitar with me, and I showed it to the publisher, Dale. And I said, this is how you read it, and this is how you play it. And within 10 minutes, I had a publishing deal. And so that first book came out the end of 79. And then I wrote 2 more books, the White Touch books 2 and 3. And then I did an instructional video in October of 87 on that for REH Videos. And that shows a lot of it. So
very cool.
Yeah, I got into it. I could write another 5 books easily like that. All the stuff that I have written down, because I keep on writing it down, so I don't want to forget things.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
That's awesome. Psycho, why don't you jump in, my friend, and then I'll pick it up after you.
Okay. The question is, with all the touring you have done with all the bands, and when you said you got signed with Autograph backstage when you were on tour with Van Halen, all bands at the time got a record advance as far as in like money to cover the they're like recording, producing, and then mastering and everything, and then you're left with whatever left. What did you buy?
We didn't get an advance.
Really?
No. We made a deal with them instead to retain 100% of our publishing, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Right. But in the long run, that works out to your benefit. But that was the deal we negotiated, was 100% of the publishing. They still paid for the record at the record plant. They paid for all the recording. They didn't have to pay for the first video because that was sponsored by Papermate Pens, because it was called Sign In Please. And that was the beginning of Turn Up the Radio. And so we just had to use a Papermate pen in there, which MTV got very upset about because of the fact we weren't supposed to be doing any advertising, but they ended up keeping it in anyway. They said, it's all, the video's already done and edited and everything, so we might as well let it on. But anyway, and they paid for the promo and all that. But the tours that we got after that, they weren't through RCA. We got our own tours just from knowing different people, like with Motley Crue and Dio and Hart. I knew them from Seattle. And, who else? We did some shows with Whitesnake, ZZ Top, Scorpions, Bryan Adams. Let's see. I mean, let's go on and on. I mean, we were touring constantly pretty much. So,
Nice.
But it's great. Aerosmith. Aerosmith was a great tour. That was a lot of fun. That was in '85.
Awesome.
So Steve, so 85 with Aerosmith, that would be what, Done with Mirrors?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, what is it, 222? And me being an old guy, all I keep thinking is the old TV show every time I keep seeing Project 222.
Oh no, I'm not involved with that. No.
Oh.
Yeah,
never really came
Bobby.
to fruition.
Let me interrupt, Bobby. You should show up to the team meetings. Yeah. Dude, next time please show up.
Oh no, it doesn't matter. I'm doing a thing now. I started going through a bunch of recordings that I had. Some of them pretty much done and ready to go, and then others where they were just ideas, and then some of them half completed. But I went through, and this is years and years of stuff. And then of course I have new ideas also, but I'm thinking I can't let these ideas go to waste, and so I started putting it all together, and I'm thinking, I want to put just a collection together of all this, to start recording it. So I'm working with David Hess at Sweetwater right now. We're putting together this home studio thing for me, because I'm going to update everything, get rid of everything, and start all over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording those ideas at home. Now, this is what I did with the Network 23 album back in '94. Is I had all this stuff, that I had collected while I was still in the original Autograph that wasn't quite right for Autograph. And so what happened uh, was I took all that material and wrote some more material, and I went in and I took the tapes that I had done and had a drummer actually play along with it, and then I played bass to it, and I played all the guitars on it, played the keyboards on it, and I thought, this is the best way to record is because I wrote the stuff, I arranged it, I produced the album, and I really like just being able to just like show what I could do and have the other players kind of come in as an afterthought, including the singer, and then the singer and I sat down and finished up the lyrics and melody line ideas and stuff like that. And so that came out in 94, 95. And I thought, you know what, I want to do it that way again, because that seemed to work best for me, because I have all these ideas in my head and I hear all the parts together. And
is there anybody you'd like to work with right now, singer-wise, that you would sit there and go, I'd really like to write with this person, or have this voice?
Yeah, I have a guy already, and it's I don't want to say any names yet, but as of last night, I just solidified that, and I also solidified the keyboardist multi-instrumentalist that I'm going to be working with as well.
Very cool.
And,
Very cool.
So, and what we're doing is we're writing stuff like, basically it's me, and then they're going to chime in, and put in their ideas. But it's just whatever we kind of feel like, and we're not trying to fit into any genre or anything. We're just going to do a variety of stuff, and which I want to do at this period of my life, because I don't want to just be thought of as Steve Lynch, the '80s guitar player, because I kind of broke out of that mold when I did the Network 23 album, my solo album. But I want to break even further away from it and just do other stuff that people don't know that I'm capable of. I want to use strings. I want to use orchestration. I want to use all kinds of stuff on it. Just everything I can possibly think of, just use it wherever I want. So
that's great.
I want that freedom, that freedom of not having to have any kind of boundaries whatsoever.
Dude, that's awesome for sure. So I got something for you, Steve, and then hey, Angel, after Steve's done with his answer, why don't you jump in with yourself and the fans? Okay. But the thing that I was curious to ask you, Steve, because we're also big like gearheads and stuff like that. I mean, we can talk gear all day long. But the thing that I've always found very interesting about you that I wanted to ask you was, I mean, you've been so ingrained in just guitar culture and playing and teaching for so long, like pre-autograph, current autograph, like during, and then of course post. I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts are on just the evolution of gear, guitars then versus guitars now, or do you just kind of feel that like, traditional and older is better, or is there something about what you can get now that you're digging on?
The thing is, there's nothing like the old traditional gear. The old vintage gear, the old tweed amps and all that kind of stuff. You can try to get as close as sound to that as you can, but it's still digitally produced. And just like playing an old Telecaster, it's just, but you can get close to it. But the amount of gear that you have to buy to get all those different sounds is just like crazy. You know what I mean? It's all the guitars that you have to buy, all the different pedals, all the different amplifiers, to get all that variety of sounds. I find now it's just so much easier because right now I'm playing through a head rush board. But I really liked playing through. Remember the Guitar Rig 2 and all that. Such cool sounds when I was recording with that. I was just going, my God, this is amazing. There's no amp buzz or anything. When I can crank it up. My neighbors aren't going to complain, because you're not having to mic up a cabinet and everything. But I love that, and I love Amplitude and all that, and I just love the sounds that you can create with that. I also just bought the GR55. The guitar synthesizer, because like I said, I want to just expand everything and just go in, where it's not even guitar sounds anymore. But of course I'll still do my solos and all that. But what I find with myself is that when I use different sounds, completely different sounds, it makes me create something completely different, rather than just if you're just using one sound, you end up playing and writing, pretty much the same in the same context anyway. It's very similar. But when you completely change around your sound, that makes you really a lot more creative. At least it works that way for me, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy that so much because of the fact that, um, to be able to like just even get a piano sound, on your guitar synth, then you're like, oh wait, I'm gonna do this finger picking thing, and I'm gonna do this something I've never done before, or I'm gonna switch it because on the guitar synth you can do all the open tunings. You can tune it to whatever you want to, and then you can use all these different sounds, and then you can write with this open tuning, and people go, what are you thinking of? Like how do you come up with that? Because it's just something completely different. So it whets your appetite to be able to be much more spontaneous.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Angel, why don't you jump in here and let's get our fans involved?
Yes, we definitely got a few fan questions. First up is Julie. Julie wants to know, do you remember the very first time that you picked up a guitar, and when did you know that music is what you wanted to do?
I do remember. It's my older sister, Mary. She had like a little listening party over our parents' place, and I was 9. I remember that because it was the same year that the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, and she got to Meet the Beatles album, and she had a listening party over at our place, and all her girlfriends are real cute, and they just every song they listened to, they were just going, they're screaming and everything and going crazy, and I just thought, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want that kind of reaction. But and then shortly after that, that's when I got that first guitar that I was telling you about. That was just a piece of crap, And so, but that's what started it off, actually. And thank you for the question,
cool. And Brandon, he has 2 awesome questions. Okay. What's your favorite autograph song?
Boy,
that's like asking him about his kids again.
Yeah.
I think probably All I'm Gonna Take. And then I liked a few of the songs off of the third album, Loud and Clear.
Yeah.
Went into a whole different writing thing. There's one called More Than a Million that and a lot of people didn't get to hear much of that because RCA was going through all this turmoil and they changed presidents and everything. And it wasn't only us that lost out at RCA as far as promotion and everything goes. It was the Pointer Sisters, the Eurythmics, Kenny Rogers, Mr. Remember them?
Yeah.
So, yeah. A lot of albums didn't get any promotion at that time at all. And I thought our third album was our best album. So.
Oh, cool.
And that's the one that Andy Johns produced too.
Nice.
And the second question from Brandon is, if you was not a rock guitarist, what genre of music would you have pursued?
Probably jazz.
Wow.
I would have to say jazz. Because I was so enthralled with the players, the teachers there at the Guitar Institute when I was going there. And I was just going, my God, what are these guys thinking? Some jazz is a little bit too avant-garde for me. It's a little bit too outside for me to listen to. But I love the way that these guys, their melodic sense, the way that they could just create over these, very difficult chords and follow the changes very precisely. A lot of rock guitar players, they think they're really great and everything, and then they listen to these old jazz guys and they go, "Oh man, back to the drawing board," because these guys can really play. You know what I mean? It's like a whole different genre. It's like, woo, yeah, this is something different. So,
and I got one more fan question, and this is from Dave. Dave wants to know: do you still speak with Plunk?
Yeah, I do. It's usually over business stuff because it's what happens is they want to license our songs for different things, and we in fact I'm just now filling out this whole thing on our whole song catalog so that I can get payments from that. And they use it from everything from ringtones to for different little segments and commercials and everything. Now, they just have to know the information for our songs. Like there's a code that goes with every song and all that. So I have to fill all that out. But the thing is that, the money adds up, even though it's little clips of your song and everything.
Yeah.
It does add up. And what we purposely did this. We made all of our material public domain, so anybody can use it. They don't have to ask permission. Not like you do with AC/DC or Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd. They're real sticklers about any songs that you can use in anything. They have to, go through their whole management, and they have to go through their publishing company, and they have to negotiate a deal. But with us, anybody can use any of our songs for anything. But the only thing is they have to pay us for it. You see what I mean? Not up front. It's just when it starts getting used. So I'll get a check in the mail, and I'll go, oh, wow, that's a nice check. And I actually called up Universal Pictures Publications. It wasn't from BMI, which is Broadcast Music Incorporated, for radio play. It was Universal Pictures. And so I called them up and I said, did you guys make a mistake? Because this check is quite a bit larger than any that I usually get. And I didn't want to have to pay it back. I wanted to go spend it. Of course, so I called them up and the lady said, yeah, she was looking at her computer and she said, you guys are in a new video called Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And I went, cool. Because they didn't have to ask permission or anything. It was public domain. And companies love that, by the way. They love that when they don't have to negotiate with you. Sometimes bands get passed over using their songs in a movie or a TV show or anything like that, or a video game, because of the fact that they have to go through so much red tape in order to even get permission to use the song. They don't want to deal with it. And so when you make it public domain, boy, as long as you're getting paid, that's all I care about. That way you don't have to worry about negotiating with them either. So.
Absolutely. Hey, Angel, do you have any questions for Steve of your own before I kick it to Max and then follow up with Steve with Psycho?
Yes, I do, actually. Do you have any stories at all from any of the tours you have ever done? Any fun stories from any tours that you've done?
Yes. Actually, there's a lot, but...
How much time you have, guys?
One of my favorites was we were in Providence, Rhode Island playing, and we were out on tour with Aerosmith. And this girl, we don't know how she got on the bus, but she got on the bus, and it was during the winter, and she was dressed really heavily and everything, and she just reeked. It smelled like she was homeless, and poor thing, but she was way messed up on drugs. We didn't know what she was on, but she was just drunk and on something, because her eyes were like dilated, just black quarters is what they were. And and she was just babbling on about all kinds of stuff. And, Mojo, the bus driver, he just started taking off, and we rode down the freeway and said, wait a minute, we've got to get this girl off, and he didn't hear us. And then he turned around and he said, what the hell is that smell? And just like all of us just pointed at her, and he pulled over to the side of the freeway, and he says, "Get out of my bus now!" So she gets out of the bus. It's snowing outside, and it's on the side of the freeway.
No,
we felt bad for her, We're going, "Oh my God," and then she, as we're driving away, she goes, F you, Aerosmith.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
She thought this was on Aerosmith's bus, so I thought that was a good one. That was really good. We laughed for hours about that.
Dude, that's awesome. Max, why don't you jump in and then Psycho can pick it up from there.
Thank you, buddy. So, awkward question for you. What happened, right? And this is a two-parts question. One for Steve, the second one is for the rest of the crew. Steve, what happened if the telephone rings and somebody say, hey, I'm from X band, right? And dude, you should join us. And this is a very good, like an awesome band. Or what will you do? Will you consider it, or you will continue with your own project, with the project that you are having right now, the solo band?
It depends on which band it would be. There's very few that I've actually do that with. Actually, Kiss asked me to join. Paul Stanley actually called me up and asked me personally to join. the day that we signed the deal with RCA.
Wow.
Yeah. He got my number through Mike Varney. I don't know if you remember who he is. Did the Spotlight column, and I was in the first Spotlight column in January of '83.
Really? Wow.
That's an amazing story,
So
dude.
that's where Paul got my number. Is he knew Mike Varney, and so he called me up, and I said, "Oh man, I can't thank you, but I just signed a 3-album deal today." And he said, "You're kidding?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he says, "Well, I'm offering you $385,000 a year to start off." And I said, "Well, that sounds very tempting, but I can't do it. I just signed a record deal." And so he got huffy and puffy and hung up on me. You know.
Yeah.
So, but no, I can't think of any one in particular.
But the answer should be yes or no, you know. So will you consider, you know, a proposal from a band that is, you know, like a good band that is, you know, up there, you know, what would you do? You say, let me think about it, or you would say, no, I have a project which is, you know, your solo band, your CD that we were talking about the other day. Is that, you know, something I think you will consider it, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I have such a unique style that it would kind of, like, I was just thinking of, like, if Pink Floyd asked me to come out and tour with them, you know.
Wow.
You know, I could replicate David Gilmour, of course. You know, I wouldn't be able to replace David Gilmour because, you know, he's got his own style and singing style as well.
Yeah.
But what I would do is, you know, I'd probably go out and play backup guitar for him just to go out and just tour with Pink Floyd. You know what I mean? That would be awesome for me. But I can't really think of anybody that I'd really fit in that well with because of the fact that, you know, my style is it's my own.
Yeah.
And I would really want to. My heart would really be into just doing what I'm doing now, and that's doing my own project because I have so much more music to put out there, and and I'm just anxious to do it. You know, I'm just excited about getting more music out there and just exploring all the ideas and sharing it with everybody. You know, and people would go, That's Steve Lynch? No, it's not. You know,
Okay.
Kind of throw a curveball at him, you know. Go, yeah, it's me. There's a whole different side here, you know. So
the second part of the question, Steve, cover your ears, is for the crew here, guys. What band is out there that we were talking in, you know, like, and this is a question that, you know, Steve, when we have our team meetings for a long time, for 4 months already, you know, we talk, hey, what band would be like a good fit for you know, for Steve, you know, like we have a fantasy, you know. So guys, this is the question for my fellas here. What band do you think, and this we're playing a game, right? So this is just fantasy, Steve. Don't take it seriously, guys. And also the people can participate writing in the comments. Okay.
Okay.
So a band that would be fun to see Steve be a part of.
Yeah, or you know, like what band is missing a good guitar player? You know, like we were talking about what bands the other day.
Well,
Angel, you say you name a band the other day. Which one?
We're gonna get in trouble for this.
All right.
I'm gonna
Next
say
question. Next question. Okay.
No,
Everybody's quiet, shaking. Okay.
No,
I'm gonna
it's
say
cool.
Rat or Bon Jovi.
There you go. Jay, what's your fantasy?
Honestly, Steve, I'll tell you, Steve, I wouldn't hate to see you in Striper because I actually think that you and Matthew, Michael, could really bounce off each other very well.
yeah, we probably could. You know, I've listened to him. He's a great player, and you know, each time that we've done shows with him, it's like we've never had a chance to like really sit down because and just jam, trade licks, you know, and stuff. Because I was not only, you know, the guitar player and autograph, I was also the tour manager, you know, the general manager, and you know, I did all the taxes, and
Wow.
I got paid and paid everybody, and I was the liaison in between, you know, the booking agent and the band, and approved the shows and stuff like that. And so, and I had to do all of the tour manager responsibilities, like making sure that the stage, the back line was always there and everything, and everything was ready to go. So by the time I would get on stage to play, that would actually be my time to relax. Because most people, that's their stressful time. I would go, oh, great, now I can relax and just play, because I was always, so stressed out doing all this other stuff. So.
Absolutely. Psycho, why don't you answer Max's question and then follow it up with one of your own?
Okay, I could see you playing with Dokken.
Wow, good call, man.
With
Because
Dokken,
I'm not disrespecting John or George or Reb, because they've had a cornucopia of people, but I think you would have a good fit. If it was with Mick Brown and Jeff Peelson, everything, but.
Dude, this is like sports.
I know Jeff Pilsey. He's a great guy, and we were actually supposed to do a project together right after Autograph and Dokken were done, but it never came into fruition. We just talked about it. I met with him a few times, but we were both so busy at this time. I was out of the country a lot because I was doing clinics.
Right.
I was teaching guitar clinics, promoting my books and everything, and I did 325 clinics in 20 different countries. So I wasn't in town very much. So I was making too good of money at that to quit doing that at the time. I thought I'm going to do this for as long as I possibly can right now, because this is good money coming in. But I can see myself fitting in with Dokken. I can see that.
Okay. So my question is, now, do you remember Hearing Aid? It was with Dio, you, let me see who else was playing guitar, Brad Gillis. It was like We Are the World kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So you guys had all in one room recording that incredible song.
Stars.
So I just want to know, out of all the musicians that you played with or know, who are your friends? Who could you call and say, hey, let's go out for a social distancing beer or something like that?
You know what? I don't.
Really?
No, no. I'm a very private person, and I really stay to myself. I live by myself, and my fun was just actually, seeing them when we were out on the road. But I live down in Tampa, Florida area, and so there's not. Other than Todd Latorre, who's the singer for Queensryche, he's one of the only people I know down here that's a musician. Him and Robin Zander lives just down the street from where I live.
Nice.
Cheap Trick, and it's not the kind of thing where I have never been the type where I socialize with a lot of other musicians. I kind of have my own life, but it's great when I run into them on the road, or at a NAMM show or any kind of event like that. It's great to see him again. We always, have great conversation and everything. So,
dude, that's awesome. Angel, let's kick it over to you right quick with the fans, and then Angel, when you're all done, Bobby, why don't you pick it up, because I saw you break out a guitar that I know you want to talk.
Yeah, I want to talk to Steve about it, but okay, go ahead, Angel.
Okay. No problem. Just going to go down the list really quick of the fans and the bands. Julie, AC/DC, Joe, Motley Crue, Jesse, Rat, Len, Gore, Tim, Striper, definitely. And I do have a fun fan question. Now, this is a really fun one. And this is from Matt Porter, our very own
Matt Porter.
Here it comes.
He jumped in.
Matt.
Okay, Matt wants to know, if you had joined Kiss, what your makeup would have been?
Oh,
that's an awesome question.
This was after their makeup days.
But pick one. What character you like to be?
What?
What in the Kiss world, there's this again fantasy. Okay, what Bruce Kulick, what will be his persona, right? You can pick your own, I don't know, Eric Carr was the Fox, what persona you like to be, what kind of makeup you like to wear, in a show, if you have to, again.
Probably Phantom of the Opera.
That's a great answer, man. That's a great answer.
Great.
Definitely
Just be
fits.
very different. Maybe maybe the Grim Reaper. I don't know.
No,
That would
let me clarify because Matt Porter, I understood his question because this question appears all the time, in the Kiss world. What will you be? What will you be? If you go to my profile, I have one with Ace Frehley. Like uh, I'm wearing makeup. Like that's from a Kiss fan. Like that's a Kiss
Right,
question,
yeah.
a Kiss fan question.
Absolutely. I'd never have a chance personally because I love guitar, I love to play, but that's not what makes me happy. Bass is what makes me happy, and there ain't no way that Gene's gonna let me take his place. Bobby, take it away, brother.
So you were asking what band? Now, and this is a two-part. I could see you playing with Jeff Beck.
Wow.
Because-
That's funny because
Good answer.
Jennifer Batten.
Well, that
We
was
went-
the second thing. You brought up your. So this is Jennifer's guitar, the one she used on the Bad tour,
Oh, okay.
and she used it with Jeff.
Wow.
And
So-
she was playing with Jeff, and we went to the Guitar Institute the same year. And she'd always be asking me, like, she'd hear stuff that I was playing back in this little room, that I had.
Yeah.
And she'd go, "What are you doing back there?" And I go, "Well, look at if you take this and this and that." And so I'd show her ideas. I was very, very comfortable showing people ideas like that. I've been teaching people for years how to do different techniques that I've come up with and stuff because I kind of let them go off and do their own thing with it. And Jennifer, she created a whole thing of her own.
She's
amazing.
monster. She's amazing.
Yeah. And she uses it a little bit more of a fusion context than I do, but yeah. And Jeff Beck loved playing with her too. I mean, he praised her, so yeah, she's dynamite. She's just a great person and an awesome player.
Nice.
And she's amazing. Every time I see her at NAMM at Fishman, and she went from the Roland the GK series up to the Fishman, and then when you were talking about that, let me ask you. So, I'm a guitarist as well. That changed me getting in just over the last few years into the synth end. Made me, I have to think differently, not like a guitar player. So it's changed. You've done that in the past when the people in the 80s it was you, Jeff Watson, Eddie, the tapping, and Randy. You guys were like, you had such a sound when Autograph came out. 3 notes in, I knew it was you. Same thing with Jeff, Ed,
Yeah.
What you mentioned, you started doing it in '72.
Yeah.
How'd you hear about this
73,
whole
right around
tapping
there? Because that's when this guy, Steve Buffington, like I said before, he was a local guitar player up there. He was really good. He was a Jeff Beck freak too. And I saw him doing it a few times. And then I'm like, wow, what are you doing there? And so he showed me a couple of ideas. And then there was Harvey Mandel, where they were playing at Trader Vic's up there. I wasn't old enough to get in. I was only 17 at the time. And I saw him playing at sound check, because I just wanted to meet him. I never got a chance to meet him, but I was watching him play up there, and I was just watching him do these little tricks with 2 fingers and everything. And I went, "Oh, that's so cool!" And so I went home and I tried all that, and so I just kept on expanding on it. But what really set me off was when I saw Emmett Chapman, the inventor of the Chapman stick. When I saw him doing it, then I just went, okay, now I'm doing everything two-handed, so. That's when I started writing out everything, all the arpeggios and all the triads and all the scales and everything, interval skips, chord inversions and everything. I just started doing it, writing it out two-handed, so I wouldn't forget my ideas. And then it turned into a book, and then it turned into 2 and 3 books. So
yeah, I got to sneak this in. So you grew up in the MI Musicians Institute era and everything, and technologies change. Do you think there'll be another wave of guitar heroes?
yes, there will. Absolutely. Everything goes full circle.
Wow.
But I think what's going to happen though is it's going to be like a marriage of a couple different things, and that would be like electronica, because it's got to take it to the next step. Okay, like kind of electronica where drummers are still playing drums, but they're triggering their drum sounds to get all these different sounds. And I actually like that, because it sounds different. And I like it when bass just has this octave down even further sound, that just rumbles. And I like it when people really experiment with the different things that they can do with their instruments and with the techno kind of beats. And I actually love this. Okay, for instance, when you watch a movie trailer, and in the beginning of the trailer, it'll come in with this, and you'll have this really cool beat. And I'm going, that's awesome. That's really cool. Why doesn't anybody do something like that? With a guitar over the top of it, And so I listened to little things like that, some of the techno beats, and I thought, I want to make this into a real drum beat, not just a machine drum beat. And I want to turn this into something that's going to be heavier, have some heavy guitar come in that doesn't even sound like guitar. Like I like some of the sounds that like Steve Stevens got. Like it was just so far out there. Wow. Like in Eyes Without a Face. There was another guy, Charlie Sexton.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember who he is. He did a great song called Cry Little Sister. It's in that Lost Boys movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, there was stuff that he was doing on guitar that was just so far into the future, and I just thought that is really cool stuff, And so I got very enthusiastic about that, and I still listen to that stuff to this day, and I just go, wow, this is really awesome stuff. Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely. So, hey, guys, let me jump in right quick. So we're a touch past our hour. We started a little bit later just because of some technical difficulties. Steve, do you mind if we hold you for just one more round of questions and just a couple more minutes?
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm fine. I'm right here.
Beautiful. Absolutely. So, guys, real quick, before I get back into the next round of questions, I want to take a quick second to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors, a couple of our endorsements that have been really nice to jump on board with us, back what we're doing, and we love them too. So I want to take a second to give a shout out to Levy Metal Enterprises. They're based out of Maryland. Levin Lewis, he runs the company. They do custom guitars. We're actually going to have a guitar. I'll have one in the near future that I'll be able to show people online of some of his craftsmanship. But he also does stage props for bands, horror props, all that kind of stuff. His name is he's very, very talented, very good at what he does. Levy Metal Enterprises. I want to give a shout out to Twisted Vines. They're very cool. So it's a husband and wife team, Saren, based out of Rhode Island. They actually do horror-based house decor, as well as fun things like custom Ouija boards and stuff like that. All stuff that they carve, stuff that they do by hand. They do, as well as fun things from jewelry to voodoo dolls. Really cool little horror stuff for people that like their horror, love their metal. And then I also want to give a shout out to John Williams of Aces and Eight Skateboards. We picked him up recently. He was very enthusiastic to be involved. He's based out of Maryland as well, but an old school kind of skater type guy. Does a lot of custom boards. Now, Bobby, I knew you would be stoked, but he does all kinds of stuff. He's worked with Doyle from the Misfits, Michael Graves from the Misfits. He's worked with Eddie Spaghetti from the Super Suckers, as well as Mike Ness from Social Distortion. So I wanted to take a second to give some thanks for those guys to be a part of our family, let us be a part of their family, and so we really do appreciate that. Steve, I wanted to jump back in with you right quick, man. When we sat down, yourself, myself, and Randy at M3, one of the things that we actually talked about during that interview was at the time Autograph had put out a brand of coffee. Are you still involved? Are you still involved in that at all?
No, I had to go over all that kind of business to the band itself. Yeah. And
cool.
So, I just thought, I wanted them to keep going, and I wish them well, and I hope that they just kick butt. They've got a great guitar player with Jimmy Bell in there. Super cool guy, too. And I love the guys, and I want to see them have success. I just wanted to take a different path. I have all these things in my head, and I'm just thinking to myself, I've got to get these things out of my head before I get too old, And so that's why I just chose to take a different path. That's all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I thought that might have been the case. It's just I know that a lot of those like side project type things, whether it be coffee, various liquors, things like that, a lot of these musicians have really been able to have some fun and pick up
Yeah.
some of these secondary entrepreneurial things. So while I felt inside that your answer was going to be yeah, that stayed with the autograph camp, hey, you don't know unless you ask.
Right, exactly. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I just when I go from one thing on to the next, just keep the other stuff in the past and wish them well, and then go on with your future thing. You don't want to be tied with all these legal things going on and everything. So that's the way I look at it. I don't like to be. I like to be untethered always. So that's what I keep it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Psycho, why don't you jump in, and then Max, why don't you pick it up after the answer?
Cool.
Okay. Well, my question is, I'm a bit of a car enthusiast. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a Cadillac,
Very cool.
a black Cadillac. Yeah. I've had 5 Mercedes SLs, and I've had 4 Range Rovers. And the problem is, man, it's like, especially the last one. I had this beautiful, SL 500 Mercedes with the retractable hardtop and everything. Man, every time I drove it, it cost me $1,000. I mean, it was just like ridiculous. I mean, and I hardly ever drove it. I was always driving my Range Rover, and so I just thought, after having these cars, for decades actually, it was always Mercedes and Range Rovers. I decided to get something American made that was a luxury car, and I absolutely love it. I don't have any problems with it at all. And it's a super nice ride. Of course, it's black. It's got to be black.
Of course.
But yep, that's what I'm doing now.
Right on.
Cool.
Oh yeah. Max, jump in there, my friend.
Yeah, well, this is not a question, Steve. This is just, to tell you how much I admire you, like what a great guitar player you are, and how much you develop your career through the years, with such a exquisite, talent. And also the message is for the people out there watching now. We need to support rock and roll. We need to support these musicians, guys. Steve Lynch, all the musicians that we're interviewing. We are not going to be, we the guys here, the crew, we are just fans. We're not going to be famous or wealthy or richer, because of this. But what we're doing this because of this kind of talent that we have today, Steve. And I'm asking everybody to share this interview, to talk about the show, to support any other podcast that is about rock and roll, because that's a way that we support musicians, right, Steve? What do you think about it?
What do I think about what?
Yeah, no, you agree with this, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I feel honored to be on the show, and I think what you guys are doing is a fantastic thing because, it gives everybody a platform to really come on and talk about what they're doing. You get to see what kind of person that they are. The fans love that, and I think you guys are just doing a very honorable thing, and I hope you just keep doing it. And I can't wait. I can't wait to come on and share my music with you, and just like debut it and go, here it is, here's something completely different. So, no, I feel very, very fortunate to have been on, and I'm really glad that you guys are doing this.
Absolutely, man. We totally appreciate you, brother. Angel,
Yes.
how are we doing with our fans, my good dude? And then we'll kick it to Bobby.
Yes, well, Len wants to know what rock guitarists do you like these days?
What rock guitarists do what?
What rock guitars do you like these days?
Rock guitarists do I like these days?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry you were cutting out a little bit there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I really like Guthrie Govan. I think he's a brilliant player. He just recently played with Porcupine Tree, which is one of my favorite bands. They're out of London. And Stephen Wilson, who's the singer in that, he does other projects as well. But I like him. I like Chris Broderick. I think he's
Nice.
a great player. And when I watch YouTube, I see, these young guys. Some of them are doing some finger picking stuff that is just amazing. I can't think of anything just right off any name right offhand, but I see these guys that are doing something really unique and really, just innovative, their own thing that they're coming up with. Like this one guy, actually this guy that I know, Peter, who's from Australia. He did this thing where he plays, guitar with the bridge. It's like on a 335, and then where it goes to the tail piece, you've got the strings. It's about that long of an area. Okay. Now what he did is he tied those little black bar straws. He put those on in between that area so that he could grab onto those without cutting his hand. And bend the strings back there. So he would be picking, with a thumb pick, and then using his fingers to bend on those strings back behind the bridge and in between the tailpiece. And he got the pitches exactly right, so it sounded like a pedal steel guitar and everything. I'm just going, this is so awesome,
Wow.
I mean, to the point where he's bending one string up a half step and another string up a whole step,
Nice.
and just doing it perfectly, and it just little things like that. I see that and I go, now that's unique. And what I tell my students to this day is I say, look at just, when you're writing right from the heart, just write everything, get to know your chord theory really well. And the other thing is to, when you do a solo, really listen to the song itself. Don't just play a bunch of riffs that you already know. You see, what I did on every song that I ever played on with Autograph and with Network 23, I made up the solo. I mean, I didn't improvise any of it because I doubled all my solos. And so you can't tell it because it's so close. But what I did was I wanted to write something that was specific for that song. And for Turn Up the Radio, I spent 5-8-hour days coming up with that solo.
Wow.
I spent 40 hours on that, and because I just kept on going, I know the song's going to be popular. I want to come up with just the right solo for it, and it paid off. Everybody really likes that solo. But I do that with every song, basically. I always try to come up with just the perfect solo. It's like, would you sing the same lyrics and the same melody line or the same chord progression in another song? You want to come up with something that's just, distinctly particular for that song. Okay. And that's what I do with all the songs. And I still do it to this day. One of the things that I do is, like with Autograph, what I did was I would bring my boom box in and we'd record, the song after we had the arrangement done. And then I would drop out during the solo and they'd keep playing during the solo spot. And then I'd bring that tape home and then I would listen to it without a guitar in my hands. I always wrote my solos without a guitar in my hands. And I would start hearing things in my head. And I went, there's the rub. There it is right there. Wow. And then I'd figure out what I'm hearing on guitar. And then I go, that's perfect. That's the perfect beginning. And then I would record that, and then I'd listen to it. Okay, what comes next? What comes next? And I'd try all these different ideas until I came up with the perfect answer. Because, it's always question, answer when you're playing guitar. One riff to the next. And so that's the way I pieced together the solos. And then when I got into the studio, what I'd do is I would record. This was on, the Studer analog machines, the 2-inch Ampex reel-to-reel. And what I'd do is I'd record one at 99% of speed. Okay. Wow. And then on the other one that I doubled, it would be at 101. So one would be a little bit lower in speed. One would be a little bit higher in speed. Okay. But you couldn't really tell because it was so close. I mean, the cents were just so minutely off. But then you pan them at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and voila, it gives you this whole different sound. And that's why on some of the bends that you hear with the vibrato arm, they're not exactly in pitch, but that's what makes it sound cool because it's actually two separate tracks to it.
Wow.
Nice.
Right on. Hey,
we're
Angel.
We're all quiet. After that, we're like,
okay, guys, this is one thing. And Max knows this about me. He, you throw one question at me, and I'll keep going for 15 minutes. So.
Hey, it's all good, man. We love to listen for sure. Angel, how are we? Do we have anything else from the fans, or I'm going to kick it to Bobby?
Nope. Just Tim said, tell Steve to check Messenger. I have the ultimate car for him.
Very funny.
Right on. Awesome. Bobby, take it away, man, and then Psycho, pick it up.
Steve, couple things. REH videos. They're no longer around. You know, I had students. I still have a lot of my old ones. How can people get yours, Sean Lane's? You know, are they out there? Is Alfred Music still doing it, or who's distributing?
You know, I don't know who's distributing. I know Roger Hutchinson, who had the REH videos. Gosh, I don't know. I think he was in Seattle. I'm from Seattle too, and so was my original teacher, Don Mock. And Don Mock's the one that filmed it. He's the one that got me to go to the Guitar Institute, so we kind of have a history there. But you know, I would think probably off of eBay. As far as mine goes, I already have it on DVD.
Oh,
So
do you?
I'm gonna put up my site, which is Lynch, and I'm gonna get that going again. Because the site's already done, I just have to put it back up again. And it's you know, youtube.com/Lynchlix, and I have my own channel on there.
Nice.
Which, by the way, I'm going to start putting on you know, more guitar solos. You can see a lot of guitar solos on there, especially if you type in Network 23 and
Yeah.
Lynch guitar solos. You can see a lot of my stuff that from Autograph that you know there are songs that you never heard from Autograph before, and from Network 23, same thing. So there's a lot of stuff on there. But I'm going to start making new ones that are going to be more kind of like little mini guitar lessons. And I'm also going to start teaching online within the next couple of weeks.
Wonderful. I mean,
So I'm gonna be advertising that and how people can get, you know, click onto the link and everything.
Very
And all
cool.
that stuff.
Very cool.
how can people get in touch with you for that? You know, I'd like to put it on my sites, and me personally, I'd love to study with you online.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and the way I break everything down when I'm teaching, it's very easy to understand. But let me answer the first part first. They can get a hold of me through my email, which is Steven, STEVEN, LLYNCH. So it's Stephen L. Lynch at Comcast.net.
Oh,
Or
cool.
you can get a hold of me through my Facebook page as well. But the way that I teach, and I'm a real stickler for this because this is the way I wrote everything out in the book, because, you know, my books that I wrote. And that's that I teach in the graph form where you're actually looking at the guitar neck itself. I don't do tablature and I don't do notation. And the reason being is because when I was going to the Guitar Institute, everything they gave me was in notation. And I'm going, guys, I don't see the pattern. I don't see the rhythm pattern that I'm supposed to be playing. All I see is this cluster of notes, and I don't see which fingers to use. I don't see where to play it on the fingerboard. And so I wrote out their whole curriculum on just these graphs, which is just a guitar neck. And I wrote everything out that way, including I transcribed some Charlie Parker sax solos and stuff like that, and Jean-Luc Ponty violin solos. In fact, I did Jeff Beck's "Because We've Ended as Lovers" too. I wrote that.
Great.
You know, so, but anyway, I started writing everything out in this format where everybody could just see what it looks like on the guitar neck. All my theory, all the songs, and everything I put in that format so that everybody gets it just like that. And they know which fingers to use for everything. You can see the actual scale patterns going up the neck, seeing how the pentatonic, you know, mixes with, like the minor pentatonic would mix with the Dorian and the Phrygian, the Aeolian mode, the three minor modes, and same thing with the major and all that kind of stuff. And I know I'm probably talking, a lot of the fans are going, whatever right now.
So, sorry, Steve, repeat the email again for me one more time. Stephen L. Lynch at Comcast.net. Is that correct?
Yes. Stephen L. Lynch at Comcast.net.
Perfect.
Or
We
by
put
my
it on the.
Facebook page.
It is on the
Yeah.
screen right now. Right now, it's on the screen. Thank you so much.
Okay. And so anyway, yeah, if you were to, what I've done also is I've taken a lot of people that have played for a long time, but they just don't know quite how to connect the dots. Like, how does these chords work with this particular key? How do you find chords in a key? And what scale goes with that? And there's really simple ways that I teach that are all just shown on the guitar graphs itself. and how triads mix with arpeggios and how you combine them with chords and all that kind of stuff. Because I like listening to guitar players that don't just play a bunch of notes over the chords that are going on behind them. I like to hear them playing against each chord. That to me is a real tasty player. You know, like in David Gilmour when he plays, like the first solo in Comfortably Numb. He's following each chord with triads as he's playing that solo. And I thought, that's really clever what he's doing right there. Because he's taken the listener on a little journey right there, a little melodic journey. And I love the way that the effect that it has. He's not just playing out of the pentatonic scale. And so anyway, that's like if you want to take lessons from it, then what I do is I take, digitalize everything. And then I send you a picture of it. And then you can actually see it while we're doing the lesson.
Oh, that's great. That's
and
wonderful.
then that way,
Amazing,
everything that we're
dude.
learning, you get a picture and you keep that picture, and then you have the lesson. You can record it if you want, so you can go back to it that way. And that way, you always have that right at your disposal. Whenever you want to come back to it. And I start out in a certain place, and then I go through each step that you go through. Up into arpeggios and modes and all that, and how they really actually work. I explain modes like nobody else does, because really all it is that by changing modes, all you're doing is actually changing the chord that's in the key.
Yeah.
It's like when you play in the key of G major, you play a G major chord, you play an Ionian. Okay, so you can play those 7 notes anywhere you want on the neck. But when you go to the next chord in A minor, you're actually playing Dorian. A lot of people don't realize that. And then when you go to the third chord, the B minor chord, then you're playing Phrygian, even though you're just playing the same 7 notes. It's like little things like that where I cut out all the crap that you really don't need to know, that makes it really confusing. And I go, look here's the meat and potatoes. Were's the way it really works, okay? So just stick to this.
Nice.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so super cool. And so while we're putting our finishing touches on everything here, we'll put together just our last little series of questions from everybody. Real quick, Angel, I want to kick it to you real quick. I apologize, Psycho, just because I want to get our final info from the fans, final questions from the fans, and then Psycho, why don't you pick it up with your last question?
Okay, the final fan question is from Joe. He wants to know about Autograph being in the movie Like Father, Like Son. I know you had a song on the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a song called She Never Looked That Good for Me. And, we had some weird titles on some of the songs, like My Girlfriend's Boyfriend Isn't Me. But which I thought was always a brilliant title. But She Never Looked That Good for Me was just this guy that has a girlfriend, and then they split up, and then he sees her, like a year or two later, and she's just looking amazing, and she's with some other guy. She never looked that good for me. What's up with that? But we had a lot of comedy in some of the stuff. We always threw in a bit of comedy there. But that was with Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron, and we filmed that live at Long Beach Arena in California. And they just let in, like a few hundred people, and Kirk Cameron was there. And so was Dudley Moore, actually. But we were we knew it was going to be live, so we were kind of nervous because it's going to a major motion picture, and we had to fly out to actually play that night in Detroit. We were in LA, and we had to fly out that night to play in Detroit. I think it was with Aerosmith at the time. It might have been with Motley Crue. But anyway, no, it was with Motley Crue. It was. Okay, so they were saying, as we were filming it, they said, okay, let's do another rehearsal, and so we go into the song, and like I'm saying, this is all live, the sound, the audio, and the video, and so we're all like goofing around on stage, Like I took a drink of water and I spit it on Kenny the drummer, and he threw a drumstick at me and stuff, and then at the end of the song they said, okay, that's a take, and we all just went, wait, we were goofing around, come on, we weren't being serious on that one. And they go, no, that's how we get the really good take, is when you just think it's a rehearsal. They do that with actors all the time. They say, let's do another rehearsal. But then they do a really good job. They say, okay, that's a take. And the actor's going, what?
Right on. Psycho Steve, you're up, my good dude.
All right. The question is, for the people that are up and coming, like the musicians today, what kind of advice can you give them? Like, because look, you're Steve Lynch, and you've made such an impact in not just our lives, but so many other lives. Like, what advice can you give the up and coming artists that are out today, especially with COVID and everything else that's going on?
I would say to, first of all, learn your theory, at least to the point where you know how to write correctly and using alternate chords and stuff like that, because that plays a big role in how well you can really write. That's a big deal. The other thing is to write whatever you feel. Don't follow a genre, because then you're just going to be a follower. Okay, and that doesn't do you any good. By the time you get to the point where you're going to get that record deal and put out that first album, that particular style of music might be out of style. See, so always think, okay, what do I really feel? What do I really want to play? Okay, and if it's a certain type of music, put a spin on it. Make it your own. And make it really unique, and not just with your writing, but with your guitar playing, with the lyrics, with the melody lines, and everything like that. If you just copy other things, then that's what you are going to be. You're just going to be a carbon copy of things that are already out there. So it's really important to be innovative and think like you're just writing something just completely different, and just keep that in mind while you're writing, because that's really going to put you above the fray. And that's a hard thing to do, is to actually be recognized, as something very different. And experiment with sounds too, like I was talking about earlier, guitar sounds, bass sounds, even drum triggering sounds, and effects on vocals and everything. I mean, and make it yours. That becomes your identity. And so I can't emphasize that enough. But always write what you feel. That's what's most important. One of the things I noticed is that during the 60s and the 70s, what's so great about so many songs that were written back then is that people didn't think about commerciality. They didn't think about how many units they were going to sell, okay, or merchandising or anything like that. They just put out songs about the Vietnam War, all the different things that were going on in the world. And to really expand your knowledge helps. I mean, if you're from a little small town, don't think about the things that are going on in that little small town. Expand your knowledge. Watch the Discovery Channel or something. I don't know. Whatever you need to do. Or travel. Take a road trip and write down your experiences from that. Because your life experience becomes your music, It becomes a part of you.
Wow.
And to share that with others is a really big thing.
Wow. That's an amazing.
That's killer. And then a final one from me, Steve, before we start wrapping up and putting a little bow on everything for you. So the one thing that I thought was kind of cool that actually gave me this question during the intro was the intro video that we used to kick off the episode is one of those Go cameras, going down the neck of your guitar while you're soloing. The thing I thought was very, very cool is I'd seen a couple years ago that Simon and Randy had either they had either signed a deal or renewed a deal with Dean. But the thing I noticed at the top of your guitar was Roberts, which is actually something I'm not totally familiar with myself. So I just kind of wanted to ask you, is that a different brand or an offshoot? Talk a little bit about what you play there.
Well, Dale Roberts is just a guy that owns his little shop up in Jacksonville, Florida. And actually, Jimmy Bell had a couple guitars made by Dale as well. And so I wanted one where I could really sit down with somebody, and to make my signature model. And, Dean, I could never get anybody to just sit down with me. I was very disappointed with that. So when I sat down with Dale and we mapped it all out, I mean, the guitar that he made me, he had to do a couple tweaks on it while it was going on, but I gave him the specifics of exactly how I wanted the body to be and everything. And in fact, here it is right here. And nice. You can really see on this how I had the whole cavity back here put in so that, it's a neck through, but I wanted complete access up to the 24th fret with no hindrance whatsoever. It's got a super skinny neck on it, really dense rose or ebony, and then it's got stainless steel frets on it, and then of course it's got the Floyd Rose Pro and my custom paint job on it, and man, it came out absolutely perfect. And he's made me a couple more, and I've never played a better guitar. In fact, everybody that plays this guitar says they've never played a guitar that's easier to play than this. And I wanted one specifically with the size fret and everything. They're not jumbos, just like right below a jumbo. But this way, you know, I get my hammer-ons and pull-offs really clear, and I put EMGs in it because of the fact that, you know, when you're going from picking to hammer-ons and pull-offs, well, the hammer-ons and pull-offs have to be just as loud, and so I wanted a pickup that would, you know, kind of hold that, you know, that same volume. It's almost like EMGs are almost like they're a little bit compressed, and so I wanted that, and you know, I found that, you know, this was just happening. It was just the sound that I wanted and everything, and the playability was just amazing on it. And like I said, I've never played a guitar that plays better, actually. And like I said, each guitar player that I know of that I've handed it to, like said, play this. You know, they go, wow.
Hey guys.
That's awesome. That's totally badass, man.
I was laughing. Sure. Sorry, Jay. I was laughing because I see Bobby buying that guitar online now. See, he's hooking up.
Yeah.
He's on his second screen, clicking buy.
Steve's model's only 1,500
right now about mass producing those.
No,
you know, so
no.
Because Dale doesn't have the facility to, he can do like you know, one every couple of months or something, or one every month probably, or maybe two a month. But I'm talking with a couple of different companies to mass produce them. And because that's what I want, is I want these specs on a guitar. It has to be this, it has to be the right kind of wood, it has to be the right kind of, you know, fret size, stainless steel frets, it has to be EMGs, it has to be all these different things. You know,
my buddy Adam Reaver of FU-Tone.
Pardon me?
Adam Reaver, who owns FU-Tone. Adam does all the Floyd Rose. He's Eddie's guy, Van Halen's guy.
Okay.
I'll send you an email. I'll send you Adam's link.
Okay, cool. That would be great.
Right on. That's super duper awesome. So thank you so much, everybody.
Yes.
Real quick, Angel, do we have any follows from the fans before we shut it down?
Nope. Everything's all good with the fans. Just, you know, thank you to the fans for tuning in
Thanks
and,
to the
and watching.
fans. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
you
for
guys.
watching, man.
I think the fans fell asleep.
Not our
they're still posting comments.
Yeah, never our fans. But anyway, Steve, thank you so much, man.
Steve.
Taking time for us, really a special extended edition of the Metal Summit.
I
Man,
have a tendency to do that. I'm so sorry, guys, but I just start rattling off.
Man.
No, man, everything was great. You know, we're never gonna let it fall flat, and we value what you have to say, man. And you're an alumnus. When the music comes out, you're going to be right back in that chair, man, because we'd love to have you again.
Yes,
And I'll
sir.
be back.
Awesome. Sure. Well, thank you so much, fans, for tuning in for another episode of the Metal Summit. All you rockers, rollers, all you birds, bells, and beautiful girls out there, come back and stay with us. We'll have our next guest announcement soon enough. And Steve Lynch, thank you again very much. And to everybody,
thank you, Steve.
rock out, keep it out of London. And we'll see you next week.
You're welcome,
for the next.
guys. Thank you very much. Peace out.
Absolutely.
are listening to the Metal Summit, your source for all things rock and roll.